morning. Praise the mighty Yahweh. Welcome to Umi's Tree Bible Study. I am Minister Michael Yisrael, and it is a privilege and an honor to be able to broadcast, to be able to edify Yahweh. What I'm going to do now is we're going to open up with the Psalms. So let us turn to the book of Psalms, chapter 8. And what I'll do as well, if you're following along, I will write the scriptures that y'all will and I'll be going into. I'll type them in, so then that can be another point of reference for you. All right, well, let's get into it. Psalms 8 reads, O Yahweh, our master, how excellent is thy name in all the earth, who has set thy glory above the heavens. Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies, that thou mightest steal the enemy and the avenger. When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars, which thou hast ordained, what is man that thou art mindful of him, and the son of man that thou visitest him? For thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor. Thou madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. Thou hast put all things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, yea, and the beasts of the field, the fowl of the air, and the fish of the sea, and whatsoever passes through the paths of the seas. O Yahweh, our master, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. Praise Yahweh. The verse that I want to cover, so I want to go into I want to read verses number 4 and 5. It says, what is man that thou art mindful of him, and the son of man that thou visitest him? For thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with the glory and honor, and have crowned him with glory and honor. Now, the reason that I am wanting to go over those two quick verses is because I want us to realize something, that, I can say it today, that we are more than niggas. We're more than the BITCH word. We are created beautifully. And the world is going to always try to stop your positivity, your inspiration. So what I want us to do is to always remember to refer back to these two verses. Whenever you're feeling a certain way, whenever you're feeling down, whenever you're feeling that you're inadequate in whatever way, refer to those two verses there. When it says, what is man that thou art mindful of him? Meaning, that's a question being asked, obviously, where the Almighty is very mindful of us. He's very considerate of us. Yahweh is. And in that 5th verse where it says he created us just a little lower than the angel, that should be a self-esteem boost for you. That's a self-esteem boost. To be someone created a little lower than an angel. Man, Yahweh is righteous. Praise Yahweh. So I just wanted to open up with that reading. Now today, what we're going to do is we're going to go into a Torah portion. And our Torah portion, it was actually for yesterday, but I'm going to use it for today, is Leviticus 16:1, and then Leviticus 20:27. So let's go there. Put that in here. So let's go to the book of Leviticus, chapter 16. In the book of Leviticus, chapter 16, the very first verse, it says, "And Yahweh spake unto Moses after the death of the two sons of Aaron, when they offered before Yahweh and died." Now, Aaron's sons were priests. However, they were only certain priests were able to do certain jobs, in other words. But these two sons had offered up they had offered up was what they would call a strange offering, something that, no, what are you doing type of thing, and they were destroyed. And we'll read about that in the book of Leviticus chapter 10. So let's turn to Leviticus chapter 10. In the book of Leviticus chapter 10, I'm going to read the first two verses. It reads, "And Nadab," because Nadab and it was Nadab and Abihu, which are the two sons that were destroyed by the Almighty because they offered up a strange offering, a strange fire. And what I'm doing now is just putting the scripture in that I'm reading from, so that you also have that as a point of reference as well. All right. Now, it says, "And Nadab," we're in Leviticus 10, it says, "And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before Yahweh, which he commanded them not." See, that wasn't their job. And verse 2 says, "And there went out fire from Yahweh and devoured them, and they died before Yahweh." So basically, just wanted to just give some understanding. And sometimes it's not sometimes, learn to stay in your lane. Learn to stay in your lane. If there's a particular job or duty that the Almighty has ordained you to do it. For example, not everyone is meant to be a minister. Not everyone is meant to be a teacher. Not everyone is meant to be a singer. However, hone in on those skills that you know that the Almighty has given you. Because if everybody honed in on the skills that they were given, no matter how small you may think or how vast you think your skill is, when we all come together with the skills that Yah gave us, guess what? We'll be able to build a strong, functioning entity simply by each person staying in their lane until Yahweh moves you to somewhere else. And see, let me say this too. This may inspire as well. Check this out. You may have a certain skill that you have that right now. You may have a certain skill right now. However, that doesn't mean that Yahweh is going to keep you there. And it also doesn't mean that you can't learn other things. See, Yahweh has given man total carte blanche to walk in whatever direction we're going to walk in. Yahweh gives man, he gave man the understanding that, listen, I put before you life and death, blessings and cursings. He says, choose life. But as he said that, prior to him saying that, he gave us a choice. Everything that we do in our lives is based off of a choice that the Almighty himself gave us. So now let's go to the next Torah portion, which will be Leviticus 20. All right, we're going to do Leviticus 20 and we're going to read verse 27. All right. So Leviticus 20, in verse 27, it reads, a man also or woman that hath a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones, their blood shall be upon them. That's dealing with people who have those psychics and those who can talk to those from the underworld or from the dead or whatever. Now, let me explain something to you. That was the punishment for them during that time. Okay, we can't go around and be stoning people and taking people's lives. Nuh-uh, that's not what we do. But the Almighty is putting this there because He wants us to stay away from those type of individuals. He doesn't want us to be involved with people who are dealing with familiar spirits. And I'm gonna tell you something. I came up under the teachings of my elder. I came up under the teachings of Minister Elder Elisha, Minister Elder Dan. I came up under the teachings of Minister Elder Zekiah, Minister Aharon, Minister Yoel, Minister Elder Ishaya, and also a gambit of other elders and teachers. And the one thing that was consistent in their teaching was that we can put no one or nothing before Yahweh. Let me tell you, I know it's intriguing to want to know what your life is going to turn out as. But one thing that my elder minister Elisha taught was that there are gates and certain things that open if you tap into certain spiritualities. Like I believe in magic. I believe in the gates and the aliens. And I know some people are, that's madness, but I believe in that stuff. That's why I stay away from it. The Almighty doesn't want us getting into that. So that was our Torah portion. Now let's go into our reading for today. It's Genesis chapter 7. So we're going back to Genesis chapter 7. And if you, for anyone that's listening, praise Yahweh, shalom, shalom. If you have questions, if you want to make comments, or if there's a topic you would like me to cover, go ahead and type it in if you're listening. Praise Yah. So in the book of Genesis, I'm just going to read Genesis chapter 7 because we started with, we're going to, Yah willing, eventually go through the Torah. We're going to go through the whole Torah. Yah willing, go through the whole Torah. And we started with Genesis 1. Now we're in Genesis 7. Genesis chapter 7 reads, and Yahweh said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house into the ark. For thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every beast, of every clean beast, thou shalt take to thee sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female, of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. So some people might feel like, well, I'm just going to throw this out there. Some people feel like, man, yeah, see, we ate pork, we had pigs and all that stuff. If let me say this, Noah knew the laws, which means he knew the dietary laws. So no, he wasn't on these ships eating unclean. So I just wanted to throw that out there. In verse 4 it says, for yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that Yahweh commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. Noah was 600 years old. Wow. Verse 7 reads, and Noah went in, and his sons and his wife, after the ship was created, of course. That's what he was working on in the previous chapter. Him, his wife, his son, and his son's wives, they all went onto the ship. All right. It says in verse 7, and Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him, into the ark, because of the waters of the flood. Of clean beasts and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in two and two unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as Elohim had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were open. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, and the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with him, into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into Noah, and they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of Yahweh. Verse 16. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as Elohim had commanded him, and Yahweh shut him up. Meaning that they all came on the boat, and he had shut the door. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth. So the boat was lifted up so high that it seemed as though it was lifted above the earth. That's how high these waters were. They covered mountains. Okay. All right. Verse 18. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly. The earth and the ark went upon the face of the waters, and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beasts and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land died. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. So what this is saying is that prior to this flood coming, Yahweh had gave man chance after chance after chance after chance to change. And I'm pretty sure Noah was mocked for making this humongous ship, and people were like, what are you doing? You look stupid. And he's trying to tell the people, listen, man, y'all got it. Excuse me. These people had generations, centuries to change prior to this flood coming. But man given to their own devices is destructive. So we did our Torah reading today, which was Leviticus 16:1. And then I explained about Aaron's sons being destroyed because they offered up a strange fire. And then we read in the book of Leviticus 20 and 27, dealing with those with familiar spirits and their, what the Almighty wanted to happen to them. But I want to make sure that I explain to you that that's something that we cannot do. We can't be going around stoning people and doing stuff like that. No, that's not what we do. We can't do that now. All right. Because as far as inflicting capital punishment and having our own nation and all that great stuff we had, we lost that. So now what we need to do is get our minds right so that we can hopefully one day get back to being the great people that Yahweh created us to be. All right. Are there any comments or any questions or anything out there now before I in the broadcast? I'll wait a few minutes just to make sure. All right. Well, if there's no questions, if there are no comments, we'll read a Psalms to end our broadcast with, and let's read Psalms 93. It says, Yahweh reigneth. He is clothed with majesty. Yahweh is clothed with strength wherewith he hath girded himself. The world also is established that it cannot be moved. Thy throne is established of old and on from everlasting. The floods have lifted up, O Yahweh, the floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lift up their waves. I'll read that verse again. It says that the floods have lifted up, O Yahweh, the floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lift up their waves. Yahweh on high is mightier than the noise of many waters, yea, than the mighty waves of the sea. Thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becometh thine house, O Yahweh, for all time. Holiness becometh thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becometh thine house, O Yahweh, forever. Blessed be thy holy and righteous name. Thank you, Yahweh. Thank you for your blessings, and may your blessings be upon all those who listen, who tune in to want to learn about you and grow closer to you, Yahweh. For without you, Yahweh, we're nothing. Bless you, Yahweh. I pray these words are accepted by you. Amen. All right. So thank you for tuning in to Uni's Tree Bible Study. Yah willing, we will be back on next week, be it by Yahweh's will. So until then, let Yahweh be our glory and our praise, for without him we are nothing. Praise Yahweh. Shalom, shalom.